Welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video I'm going through each League 2 side start to the season and ranking it. So I've got 5 tiers here, obviously starting at the bottom with a 1-star and working our way up to a 5-star. So let's get into it. First club, Accrington Stanley, picked up of late really 3 wins in a row after a really shaky start to the season. Got quite a young squad at the moment. Brought in a few players from the National League, the front two of Knowles and Mooney up front. And it's obviously going to take a while for a young team to settle, but it looks like they have so far at the moment. 3 wins in a row. They're finding the fit a little bit. They're around 17th in the league. I'm going to put Accrington Stanley in the 2-star category, I think. I think they haven't had a bad start to the season. Next team, Wimbledon. They've played significantly less games than everyone else after what happened with the pitch after the flooding around the area, but their record so far hasn't been bad really. They're currently sitting in the top 10. Not a bad start to the season. I think there's still more to come from Wimbledon, but the signs of saw so far, they look a well drilled team. They're really good at home. I think that's a really good platform for them. I think they need to improve a little bit away. Obviously, had a good side of Notts County yesterday, but defeat away at Bromley earlier on in the season as well. They probably need to improve their away form a little bit, but there's some good signs there. At the moment, I might change at the end, but Wimbledon, I'm going to put in 3 stars. Not a bad start to the season. Barrow, I think, have had a really good start to the season. I think everyone predicted them for a low finish. In their table predictions at the start of the season. They got off to a really good start within the first 5 to 7 games. They're actually sitting in the top 3 now. At the bottom of the playoffs and 7th, which is still a good, league position for them to start off with, really. But if you look at the form recently, I think it's just 1 win in the last 5 games. That isn't great from their point of view, but I think you got to take the whole start into 4. So I think I'm going to put Barrow into 4 stars. Bradford, I think, finding their feet, another team. They went through a little bit of a patchy run, a few games ago. I think they went 4 games without a win. But they're really strong at home. They haven't lost at home so far this season. In the top 7 where they want to be, I think they're 6th at the moment. And, some big wins in there. I think they're gathering a little bit of momentum. Just got to keep it up and be consistent with it. Crewe Alexandra's side, but I'm going to put them in the 4-star category. Bromley, I'm going to put them in 2-star. I think it's 9 or 10 games without a win now. I think it's 9 games after yesterday's defeat to Tranmere. Obviously, they picked up a few points in there. I think where they are at the moment, I think that's where a lot of people expected them to be. They've probably got one of the lowest budgets in the league. But their run of form recently, you can't hide away from the fact of that. 9 games without a win is pretty poor. I think they go into the 2-star category. Next team up, Carlisle, easily in the 1-star category. Been a really bad start to the season for Carlisle. New manager Mike Williamson's going to take a while. I've read a stat yesterday. I think they've had 45 shots in the last 2 games, and they've only scored 1. So they need to find the feet in front of goal. They're creating the chances, to be fair, but in terms of start, really poor from them so far, leaking way too many goals, to have a chance. Deservedly, I think, in the 1-star. Next team, Cheltenham, I think they have to go into the 1-star category. I think just everything at the moment, even though they won yesterday away at Colchester, and that's a good win. But I just think in terms of overall start, not a brilliant start for Michael Flynn. I think he's not doing a bad job with what he's got. I think the resources he's got isn't really going to push them to the top half this season, personally. There's really bad defeats in there. I think that one last week away at Swindon was a bad one. But he has responded with a win at Colchester. But on the whole, I don't think it's been a brilliant start. I think they're going to be a very inconsistent side. I think their aim this season is to avoid back-to-back relegations. We've seen a lot of teams do it. Forest Green recently did it, obviously, last season with back-to-back relegations. They've got to stay above that dotted line this season, and I think they're going to the 1-star category. Chesterfield, I think, has been a steady start for them. Good win on the weekend away, on Friday night, I should say, away at Newport County. But from what's let them down going into 4-star category is probably they've drawn too many games so far. Isn't a bad thing, I guess. If you look at one side, they're not losing games, but draws are actually not really that good in any division. Really, you've got to try and go for the win. And in many of them games, have been ahead. Against Cheltenham, Notts County of recent, they were ahead in the games. And then they go away and throw it into a draw. But it's been a steady start. I think their attacking talent they've got, Dylan Markande on the wing, brilliant player. And then you got the options up front of Paddy Madden and Will Grigg, who come off the bench to score too. It's got some excellent choices going forward. I think defensively they've looked a little bit weak at times, especially when they played Morsell Walls. I thought their defence was shaky, but I think it's been a steady start back into the EFL for Chesterfield. I think 3 stars is deserved, but I think they're going to be a team that's going to be pushing for the top 7. I think they've got the quality to do so. Next team, Colchester, 2 stars. Another team that just seems to draw too many games, and it's, catching up with a little bit now. I think they've picked up a few defeats in there. When you don't pick up that win, I think they're on a bit of a run there without picking up 3 points. So hasn't been a brilliant start for Danny Cayley, but no doubt I think he will, implement results in there. But he's got to do it quickly. They've got some good players, Jack Payne, Arthur Reed in the midfield, a lot of them 2 players. I think Samson Tovid up front as well. He's a brilliant striker, and Lyle Taylor. So they've got experience in there. But in terms of the start, to sit, 20th in League Two at the moment, after 12 games, isn't a brilliant start. You'd thought they'd be pushing up, but there's still plenty of time for them to do that. But I'd put them in the 2-star category for their start to the season. Crewe Alexandra, I think it's been a steady start. I might change it around at the end, but they got off to an awful start to the season. They picked up a heavy defeat at home to Chesterfield, 5-0. And ever since then, I think they've only lost 1 game since that heavy defeat. They've had injuries as well. Obviously, you don't want to use that as an excuse, really. Every team gets injuries, but Crewe got quite a, small squad in terms of, their players that have transferred in. They rely on a lot of the academy players, started to pick up some really good wins at home. I think 3 stars are sitting in the top 10 in touching distance of the plasma. It's been a really solid start for Crewe so far this season. Next team, Doncaster. At the moment, I'm going to put them in the 4 stars. I think they've picked up a few defeats, which, unlike them, away at Newport, probably weren't at the races. But I think one thing to note on Doncaster, whenever they do go and get a defeat, they do bounce back with a result. So I think that's a massive sign of a good side. Still think there's a lot more to come from them. And yeah, I think, solid start to the season. Obviously, it's 2nd in the league. And yeah, really good start to the season from Doncaster. And it's one that might move up to 5 stars at the end, depending what teams are put in there. Gillingham, I'm going to put in 3 stars, but at the top of there, I think their recent run of form has been poor. I think if you're going to be in with a chance of getting in that top 7, really, you can't really afford to lose 4 games on the bounce, I think. Obviously, they might respond and get 5 wins in the run. They could do, no doubt about it. I think they've got a quality side. Obviously, another team with injuries. Don't want to use that as an excuse, but, it's not brilliant to lose 4 defeats in a row. Before that, though, they looked like a really good signing. I'd have had them in, 4 or 5 stars. But recently, some really poor results in there as well. I think at the moment, put them in 3 stars. Fleetwood Town, I think, obviously, off my experiences, that they are probably the best side I've seen play. Obviously, we got smashed 6-2 by Fleetwood. Look a really, really good side. Obviously, I think they've dropped points in key games. Morecambe, Bromley, they should have won at least one of them games. Yesterday, lost to Port Vale, on some really good form. But I think there's some really good signs for Fleetwood at the moment. They look a really good footballing side in and around the top half, and I think they will no doubt get better as well. I think that's a good thing. They've got off to a decent start in terms of the way they're playing. They'll pick up. I think they've only lost 2 games as well this season, but a decent start for Fleetwood. Grimsby, I'll put them in the 3 stars. expected informed side in the league, 4 wins out of 5. I think David Artell is getting there gradually in terms of implementing his playing style that he implemented at Crewe. I think they're a good passing side. I think they lack a little bit of conviction in the final third at times. I saw that yesterday when my side played them, and I think they need to, dust up on that, brush up on that, I should say, going forward, because if you don't take your chances at this level or any level in football, it's going to come to punish you. But that'll come, create some decent chances, especially first half against us, and I think they're going to be a side. They're in transition, really. I think there's a process going on. I think Grimsby fans have got to back the manager there. I think he's going to create some good eventually for them. Harrogate, 3 stars for me. Obviously, I might change a few of these rounds, just speak about Harrogate. Obviously, a lot of teams, a lot of people, including myself, really tip them to finish in the bottom 5, really. And, the 14th in the league picked up some really good results. They look really, strong at home. A little bit, shaky on the road. Don't pick up as many wins, but, really good start from Simon Weaver. That's what he wanted. Pushing just below the, mid-table range. Decent start for Harrogate. MK Dons, this is a tough one. I think I might just scrape them in the 2 stars at the moment because they have picked up some really good wins. But on the whole of their league position at the moment, I think they're currently really low down in the table. I think they're, about 13th in the league. Isn't brilliant at the moment from MK Dons, but no doubt in terms of the side they got, they are going to push higher. Scott Lindsay's just got to get some rhythm into him. The son Scott are going to got, a top striker for this level now. But in terms of their start, it's not been a good one in terms of their expectations going into the season. But who knows what's going to happen with MK Dons. In terms of the squad, they should be, pushing up and around the top 3 already. But been a bit of a slow start. But I can see them, pushing on up the table. No doubt about that. Morecambe, even though the off the field issues, 1 win in your first 12 games, you can't look past putting them in the 1-star category. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Derek Adams to keep them up this season, I believe. It's a completely new squad. I think they lack a little bit of quality in some, some key areas on the pitch. The striking department, I think, is where they lack a real top goal scorer. If you have a good striker at any level, it takes you a long way. They've been a bit unfortunate for some of the games, but results don't lie at the end of the day, and the table shows it. 24th, got to be a 1-star ranking for Morecambe. I think Newport have got off to a decent start. I think, where they are at the moment, the 15th in the league. I think they show some decent signs at times, but they're very, there's no in the middle with Newport. They'll either win a game or they'll lose a game. It's one of them. I think they need to tighten up a little bit defensively. I think they've leaked a few goals in the last game, in the last couple of games, really. I think, Nelson Yardim as the manager, it's his first job as, as a first team manager. I think it'll take some time, but they've shown signs some really good quality so far. But yeah, I think 3 stars probably about fair for Newport County. Notts County, 4 stars. And I think, everyone was talking about Macaulay Langstaff leaving, but Jatt has stepped up to the mark. I know he's missed a few key chances in a few games, but he's a great outlet to have up there. David McGoldrick firing in the goals as well. You got Jody Jones injured, but they're still picking up results. Notts County couldn't sit 4th in the table, and I think they are top quality side. They started really good last season now, so they've got to try and continue this going forward. I think Matthew Platt's been an excellent addition for them from Bradford. Really sharpened up their defence, and keeping a few more clean sheets this season. I think that's a sign to come as a decent side. Port Vale, I think this is the first team I probably have to put in the 5-star category. Top of the league. I think they're unbeaten since late August. And I think in some of the games they've played and haven't even been at their best. The manager they got, Darren Moore, top quality manager, probably one of the best managers in the league. Got some really good players for this level. Probably a couple of players too good for the level top of the league at the moment. And yeah, they've probably been the most consistent side so far this season in terms of their, the run they've gone on. I think they're about 7 games unbeaten. They won't, like I said, they're probably in games won't be at the best, but they've, managed to find results, and that is probably a good sign of a good, it's a good sign of a team that's going to be up there come the end of the season. So 5 stars for Port Vale's start to the season. Salford, I'm going to put in two stars. It could be pushing on 1 star, to be honest with you, but I think they're another team. They're really hard to predict personally. I think some weeks they play some good stuff and then they get a win. Then they back it up with like two defeats in a row. Then they'll get a draw and they'll bounce back with a win. There's no consistency with that. And I think what Salford are trying to do is blood a lot of the young players in there. They've got some really promising players there. Like Kelly Enmoy, I think he's a really good player, really tricky player. They've got some good players in there overall, but as a collective, as a team, haven't fired recently. I think they're 18th in the league at the moment. Salford, ever since they're coming to the EFL, they had a few seasons where they were up and around there, but recently have dropped off, and you have to question it. Not Salford, Swindon, 1 star personally. 2 wins so far this season. 1 come against Newport, 4-0 at home. I think Newport had a lot of defenders at that game. And then the last win come away at Cheltenham. They were 3-0 up, and then they nearly threw that away with Cheltenham scoring 2 goals in the second half. I don't know how to feel about Swindon. If you go and follow my TikTok, Seb Taylor WFC. I made a video on Swindon a couple of weeks ago, and I just don't see them pushing up the table at the moment. I think there's a whole mood around the football club at the moment isn't great. Goals are conceding are just basics of football. I saw the penalty yesterday they conceded. Not a brilliant look for them. Swindon should be doing a lot better. 21st in the league. I think just the standards of the club have gone down drastically over the last couple of seasons. That comes from top to bottom. There's a few quotes from Mark Kennedy I've seen that have just been. If I was a Swindon fan, I'd just be, fuming. We've been a really poor start to the season, I think, from Swindon. So 1 star, ranking for them. Tranmere, they are probably bordering on a 1 star. I just think the style of football they play isn't, one that you can sustain over a long period of time. I think in some games, that style of football can work, but in other games, sitting back and then trying to, rely on a couple of players to create stuff. They don't create many chances, and I think they need to have that plan B, plan C. Been a really underwhelming start to the season, 16th in the league. It's very similar to where they finished last season. Tranmere, another club, the standards of the football club have gone down in the last couple of seasons. They're a big football club for this league, should be doing a lot better. Obviously, they got a win yesterday against Bromley, but I've seen a few fans say it's papers over the cracks, and we'll wait and see what Nigel Adkins can do with Tranmere in the next couple of games. Then finally, my side, Walsall. It has to be 5 stars. I don't want to be biased, but I don't think anyone saw us getting off to this good of a start to the season. Picked up some brilliant results, scoring goals for fun. Look, a real good side overall. And, we might not dominate the play in terms of possession, but we take our chances in the final third. And that's, unlike Walsall for many seasons, we've had that, not that cutting edge in front of goal. And it shows a sign that we're going to be in and around there. I don't want to get too carried away. I've said it many times. I want to take it game by game, but I'm just really impressed with the start to the season. I think I didn't expect it. Massive credit goes to Matt Sadler's, proving a lot of people wrong, probably myself included, how we're playing at the moment. I didn't expect this start to the season. Long may it continue, and I think we're deservedly in the 5-star category. In terms of changing some around, I'm tempted to put Fleetwood up. I think they just look a really good side. I've got a blend of some really good players. Gillingham might be a bit harsh in there. They're still in the top 7, but I just think their recent run of form I don't know if I can put them in the 4-star. I think I'm going to stick with that. I think the ones to notice though, I'm not saying teams in in their ranking are poor sides. I think Gillingham, Wimbledon, Fleetwood, Chesterfield, all the teams have got aspects of going to be a good side, but some of the results have probably hindered them going up the ranks. I'm going to stick with that. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the ranking. Let me know how your side's got off to the season. Be good to hear in the comments. Thank you guys for watching the video. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.